Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a second, which I'll get into later, but I wanted to sit down and chat and film a video about my first year of motherhood and a little bit about Charlie's first year thus far. I just want to talk about it. I feel like it's fun to give these little updates, so let's do it. I'm gonna basically start with how I feel like my expectations of motherhood were completely different from the reality of motherhood, which I think is how it goes for everybody. But I really expected to have more control over my days and over Charlie, I guess. And I mean that in the sense that I truly thought I would have him sleeping through the night by 6 months absolute max, but truly I thought oh, I can totally start sleep training him and get him to sleep through the night at 4 months or whatever. And it did not happen. He still doesn't always sleep through the night, and he's like a year old. But it just is what it is, guys. I have kind of relinquished that expectation quite a bit. He has good nights when he's not teething. He does sleep 7 to 7 through the night completely, and then usually he'll wake up once a night right now, and it's either early in the night 4-2 or it's at 5 in the morning, but usually he'll sleep through the night beyond that. So I feel like that's kind of a win. I'm trying my best. I don't ignore him because more often than not, he just needs some Tylenol. Sometimes I still nurse him in the middle of the night, not always. It just kind of depends. But yeah, I definitely thought I would have more of a handle on the sleeping through the night aspect of motherhood. And it's just not as easy as I thought it would be. Because it's really hard to listen to your baby crying. I'm not very good at listening to him cry. And I had people giving me advice saying just let them cry it out, they'll be fine, and it's so hard for me, I can't do it. So yeah, it's just what we're doing, so it's okay. Probably don't put that much pressure on yourself. I feel like another expectation I had, which was silly, and I've talked about this a little bit in other videos, is I truly expected my body to just kind of snap back to pre-pregnancy weight. And that hasn't happened. I'm still not at pre-pregnancy weight. Granted, I'm not trying very hard. I just try to eat healthy and be kind of active, but I expected my body to react differently. I have friends whose bodies just kind of snapped right back, it seems. But we're all different. Most of my friends are pretty fit and I'm not, so it's just different. And that's okay, I'm learning to really accept my body where it's at right now, so that's a good thing, I would say. I really thought I would be a super chill mom, and I'm kind of the helicopter mom, I'm realizing. I don't like not being in control of the situation, and I'm trying to let that go. It has been really hard for me though. When we were visiting my in-laws in Maryland over Christmas, I had a lot of trouble letting go. I had a lot of trouble being without Charlie for an hour or two. And obviously, I have gotten better as he's getting older. I'm getting better at not being with him constantly, but it has been really difficult for me to relinquish control and let other people watch him. I kind of stress out about it, but I'm just trying to be better about it. I'm trying to realize he's fine, especially now because he only nurses 3 times a day and then sometimes at night. So really he is fine. He's fine being with other people. If he's sad, they can deal with it. It's not he has to nurse every 2 hours. I nurse him morning, I nurse him after his second nap, and then I nurse him before bed. And then sometimes I nurse him during the night, once. So realistically, it's just me relinquishing control, I think, is all of my expectations I had prior to having Charlie have to do with me feeling I wanted to be in constant control. And it's funny because my mother-in-law even said to me like, oh yeah, you have all these like fun expectations, but like once the baby comes, a lot of wrenches are thrown into things. And I, you know, kind of brushed it off because I was like, oh, whatever, like it can't be that hard. It is that hard. It's, you know, babies are unpredictable. It is getting a lot easier though, as he's getting older. Like he's a toddler now, it's easier, I think, just because I've got the hang of it a little bit more. Now I say that, and then we're gonna enter a new stage, and it's, you know, gonna overwhelm me and be hard again. I will say, just in the year since having Charlie, I feel like I've grown and I've been able to not be so overwhelmed by everything. Like when I first had him, like obviously it's just this completely new entity and it's this new thing. Someone is completely depending on you, like depends on you for everything. So you go from being your own person to someone's person, basically, and it's a lot. I remember the first like couple of months, I felt so overwhelmed, especially the first few weeks, which is like, again, understandable, but like I think that you don't realize how overwhelmed you're actually gonna get. Like I remember when JD would have to go to work in the evenings, I would just bawl my eyes out, and like, because I just was so scared to be alone with Charlie, because it was hard work. Like, and I thought this at the beginning of pregnancy, but it's like childbirth is one of the few times where your body goes through this incredible ringer, and your healing process is sometimes has to be put on pause to take care of a baby. Like I remember, you know, those first couple of weeks, like Charlie would be crying and I'd be trying to soothe him and I'd be bouncing him around, and like my body was really sore and I still would have to be like bouncing him around and stuff, and my healing process was kind of difficult, and I honestly think it was because I was having to focus so much on dealing with Charlie. So I definitely think that the next time around we are going to do things a little differently. Like hopefully JD can get more time off work wherever he's working at that point. Like hopefully he can get more time off, because he really only took, I had Charlie on a Monday morning and he took that day off, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, or maybe he went back to work on Wednesday, but basically he only took, he took Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, and that was it. And that kind of sucks. Like it sucks to be alone, and I felt really overwhelmed. I didn't want to see anybody. Like I felt really overwhelmed and stressed when my parents would come up, even though they just wanted to help me, and it was just a lot. Like it was just really difficult. And I remember Mother's Day fell basically almost a week exactly after I had Charlie, and we went out to a restaurant, and like there are things you don't even think about until you have a baby. Like this was basically my first real outing since having him, and the restaurant we went to, which is still one of our favorites, like it didn't have a changing table and I had to change him, and I literally like was so stressed. I was like changing him in the car and I was like sweating and freaking out, and then I had to nurse him in public, and I had never nursed him in public before, and I had like something on me, like a little nursing cover, and I was hot and he was hot. And when he was first born, I had to nurse him in the football hold, which is basically like their head is in your hand and the rest of their body is like following your forearm, basically like how you would whatever carry a football. Just because he was so tiny, and like that was the only way I could get a good latch, and so it was like really awkward and really awful, and I was so stressed. I remember like multiple times during his first like couple of months, I would literally sit in bathrooms, like sit on the floor in bathrooms trying to nurse him, just trying to find the best possible position. I eventually had to just stop nursing with the cover, and that helped a lot. And I know nursing in public without a cover is becoming more of a normal thing, which is awesome. I have a lot of friends that still don't feel comfortable with it, and I have a lot of friends that do feel comfortable with it. It's like to each their own. You know, if you feel more comfortable nursing with the cover on and you're able to, then that's what you should do. I wasn't getting a good nurse. Charlie wasn't getting a good feed when I had a cover on, so I was just like, what's more important is me feeding my baby, so I'm taking the cover off. That kind of changed the ball game for me with nursing. It made it so much easier. It was so much less stressful. Just if I was in public and I had to nurse him, just nursing him and not trying to deal with this whole cover situation. So that helped a lot with me feeling overwhelmed, although I was still overwhelmed. It took me quite a few months of like, if he happened to start crying while we were driving, I would freak out. And it was like I would get sweaty and sometimes I'd start crying because I'd get so overwhelmed because there was like nothing I could do for him. For the most part, I've learned that when he's crying and we're driving in the car, like I can't get there any faster than I am, so it's best to just like not focus on it and just get home or whatever it is, like get to wherever it is we're going and then get him out of the car and help him out and help him not be so sad. It's definitely taken some time for me to not feel entirely overwhelmed by being a mom. I would say though, probably I've had it pretty easy. Like Charlie's been a pretty easy baby, you know. We haven't had any real issues. Like teething, you know, is teething. It's not fun, but he's a pretty happy baby for the most part, so I feel like I have it pretty easy. So yeah, I feel like those are my main updates and those are my main like experiences in the first year of motherhood. Is like it's hard and it's crazy because you go from having this like little baby that is completely helpless to having a toddler that can kind of do things not really for himself, but like he plays, he entertains himself. I want to talk briefly about one of the big questions I feel like all moms get once their baby turns a year, which is, when are you planning on a second? And currently we're not planning on a second right now. Well, I should say that came out wrong. Currently, we are planning on just having Charlie for a while. I want a little bit of space between my kiddos. Currently, I really just enjoy giving just Charlie all my love. I just want to just have Charlie and just love Charlie right now. So that's kind of our plan, is to just be having Charlie right now, and you know, in a couple years we'll probably start having more babies, but right now I just want Charlie. My husband just wants Charlie. We want to be in a different place financially before we have another baby. We want to be just in a different place before we have another baby, so that's that. And then I just want to talk a little bit about Charlie and where he's at now that he's 1, because I think it's fun to just give these cute little updates. So let's do it. Charlie is talking little. He can say about 4 words pretty consistently. I say he can say 4 words. Like, obviously they're not like, you know, perfect, but yeah, he says about 4 words. He says mama and dada, and then he can say cat and done. And you know, the mama and dada is obviously like we are mama and dada, and he talks to us. And then cat, we have a cat, and we have been like from early on being like cat, and like petting our cat and telling him that this is the cat, and so we learned that one. And then done was another one that I was teaching him because I just wanted him to be able to have that communication for like when I'm feeding him. He lets me know when he doesn't want anymore. I like that he can communicate that to me, so that was another one that I was working on with him. So those are his 4 right now. I'm trying to teach him please, but that's kind of a hard word to say, but he's getting the concept of what I want him to do, which is like when he's wanting something that I have, whether it be like my water bottle or a snack, he was just like screaming at me, and I was trying to correct that action by teaching him how to say please. And so when he wants something now, he kind of goes pah, 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 and like makes the P sound, and that's working for me right now. And obviously we'll get more into the actual words. Yeah, those are his words. He isn't walking yet on his own. He can walk with like a push walker or in his little walker, but he isn't walking on his own yet, which to be honest, I'm perfectly fine with. I feel like there's always all this pressure put on parents. It's like, oh my gosh, like your baby's 1 and they're not walking yet. But honestly, I'm just enjoying the small lack of mobility while it lasts. And he already like crawls around like crazy. Like he can zip places when he's crawling. I think it's just easier to do that, and I can contain him a lot easier, so I'm fine with that. I'm fine with him not walking yet. He can stand. He mostly stands while holding on to things, but he can stand for just a little bit while completely on his own. He's not there yet. Again, I'm fine with it. Every baby develops differently. Basically, that's kind of it. That's what I wanted to talk about, my first year of motherhood. I did want to discuss really quickly that I'm gonna change my video schedule. I know it's hilarious because I literally started doing YouTube videos like 2 months ago or whatever, but I am gonna change my video schedule a little bit because if you couldn't tell, I have not been posting 3 times a week because honestly, it's just a little too much for me right now. And so I'm gonna post 2 times a week. I'm gonna post Monday and Friday. And I'm gonna take Wednesday to not post, and I think that that'll make things a little less stressful on me because, I mean, this isn't a job. Like, this is just something I do for fun. I like to maintain a schedule, but yeah, I think Monday, Wednesday is gonna be a little easier for me to do, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do Monday and we're gonna do Wednesday. I'm gonna keep with like my vlog style videos because those are kind of my favorites, and I like these sit down videos, but yeah, thought I'd tell y'all that expect videos every Monday and Wednesday from me for the most part. I'm not perfect, I'm just a girl. Anyways, I think that's gonna be it for today's video though. Thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, all that stuff. And I'll be posting videos every Monday and Friday, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.